the reeds, there was an upturned boat, and under the upturned boat there lived a goose. The boat had come ashore years before and stayed. Its paper sails were long gone. Its hull had gone soft and gray as driftwood, and someone had cut a low door in the side of it, and the goose had moved in and made it hers. It was a good house. Rain ran off it. Wind went around it. The goose had a good life, and this is important, because everything that follows would be easy to explain away otherwise. She had world. She had the whole marsh, the cold black water, the eels, the particular reed bed where the light came in low around 4 o'clock and turned the whole place to brass. She worked at things that did not care about her. She was excellent at them. She had exit. Her wing had broken once, long ago, and had healed badly, and then, over 2 slow years, had healed the rest of the way. She could fly. She had tested it. She knew the door was open, and she knew where the flock went in autumn, and she knew she could follow if she wanted, and her coat was quiet. She had done that work, too. When the marsh went silent in the evenings, no crowd of old voices started up under her feathers. She had held the cold stone. She had let the water say nothing to her, and she had believed it. She did not think badly of herself. She was, by any honest measure, a goose in good order. And still, most nights she lay in the dark under the hull with an ache in her chest like a stone she had not loaded. She was thorough about it. She checked the ballast, nothing undeclared, no old grief she was calling grace. She checked the door, unlocked, and she had opened it that very afternoon just to be certain. She checked the coat, quiet as a church. "Then what is it?" she said to the underside of the boat. The boat did not answer, being a boat. She had gotten very good at asking herself questions. That was the problem. There was nobody else to ask. One night in the wet part of the year there was a knock on the hull. Not a loud one. 3 taps, low down near the door, the sound a wet wing makes on old wood. The goose lay still. She had been alone a long time, and being alone a long time does something specific to a body. It teaches the body that the door is a thing that opens outward, for leaving, and that anything arriving from the other side is weather. The knock came again, then a voice, unbothered. "There's a light in your seams." "It's a bad seam," said the goose. "I know. I'm standing in the drip from it." There was a pause during which nothing at all was resolved. "Are you coming in?" said the goose, "or are you going to stand there narrating my roof?" "I was waiting to be asked. It's rude otherwise." The goose was quiet for a moment. Later she would think about how long that moment was, and how much of her whole life had happened inside moments exactly that length. "Come in then," she said. The other one came in. It does not matter what the other one was. Something wet, something that had been out in it. It sat down on the far side of the hull and shook itself, which was inconsiderate, and did not apologize. Neither of them said anything for a while. The goose noticed that the ache in her chest had not gone. It was still there, the same size, in the same place. But it had stopped being the only thing in the boat. "You don't have to talk about it," said the other one eventually. "I wasn't going to." "Good. I'm tired." And that was all. They sat under the hull with the rain going over them. At some point in the night the goose realized she had stopped listening for the sound of her own breathing, which she had been listening to without knowing it for 11 years. In the morning, the other one left. It did not promise to return, and it did not ask her to be different, and it did not tell her what the ache had meant. It went off across the marsh into the low brass light and got smaller. The goose stood in the cut door of her boat and watched it go, and the ache came back up in her chest, because that is what an ache does. But she had a new piece of information now, and it was this. The ache had a shape, and the shape was another animal. There is one more part, and it is the part nobody likes. The following winter, the goose walked a long way down the reed bed to a place where somebody else lived, and she stood outside in the cold for some while, and then she knocked. Nobody made her do it. Nobody was coming. The first knock had been a gift, and gifts do not arrive on schedule, and she was not willing to spend another 11 years listening to her own breathing while she waited for the marsh to be fair. It went badly the first time. It went badly the second time, too. It did not always go badly. Hashtag how to tell the difference. Sometimes a heavy, tight ache settles in the chest, and the mind says, "I am lonely," and sometimes, after you have checked the hold and checked the door and checked the coat, the mind turns out to be right. This is the 4th case, and it is not a failure of the other 3. It is not something you have left unexamined. It is not weight you are hiding, or a lock you have not tested, or a crowd you have not quieted. You can do all of that work correctly, and be in good order, and still need another animal in the room. You will know it by what it is not. It does not lift when you rest. Exhaustion of the sail eases when you stop performing. This does not. It does not lift when the door opens. Lack of exit eases the moment you know you may leave. This is still there after you have left and come back. It does not lift when you touch the world. The crowded coat goes quiet against cold stone and moving water. This one holds the stone with you and stays. That last one is the tell. Loneliness is the ache that keeps you company. And the medicine, when it is this, is not a practice. It is a person, or a dog, or a room with someone breathing in it. Not a person who fixes you. Not a person who requires the story. Just another mammal, close enough that you stop being the only warm thing you can hear. 2 hard things, said plainly, because you will find them out anyway. The knock is half. Somebody has to arrive, and you have to let them in, and those are 2 different acts of courage on 2 different sides of the same wood. The second one is not easier because you wanted it. Sometimes nobody knocks. This is true, and it is not your fault, and no story will make it fair. Then the work is to walk down the reed bed in the cold, knocking, badly, more than once, at doors that may not open. It is the least dignified thing in this whole collection, and it is the only thing that has ever worked. You are allowed to want people. Wanting them is not a symptom. Released without ownership. Take what serves, leave the rest by the river.